Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today on Collection of Lessons, I want to talk about contracts. Remember, everything I say on this channel is not anything advice, it's part of my Collection of Lessons series, and let's get into it. So, what I want to talk about contracts is people will think, and this has come up with a lot of friends and family and everything, people will say something is free when it's not. And what I mean about that, I'm going to go into about 4 or 5 different examples of where this comes into play and where I've seen this. First example that I want to talk about, or first thing I want to say, I guess, is nothing is free. So we'll just put this here. Nothing is free. Okay? Let's talk about a few things, okay? So the first one is I know someone that got something set up in their home. It's like a security system type of thing. And they say that they got 3 cameras, 2 sensors, few door sensors, and everything for free. And it's interesting because a lot of companies will do this and play this off so you don't really realize. They say it's free, and they say it's also, if I can change my size because it's huge, they also say for $45 a month for 5 years, which actually equals $2,700. So is the 2 to 3 cameras, is the doorbell camera, is it free? Well, no. You could buy a doorbell camera straight out without a subscription, and I know that I've had 4 cameras in a previous house that each camera was about, I think it was $300 or something like that, or $250, and it was one of the Google Nest type ones. You didn't need a subscription. You could, if you wanted, to have like a $5 or $10 subscription for all of them to have like 30 days back or whatever. But like, that's, my subscription, that would be my subscription to Google, rather than $45 subscription to, let's say, TELUS, to come and install it, or Vivint, or whoever security, company that use all these types of things. And, I got to monitor it myself, and I got to remote in and check the camera feed and everything that everybody else is doing, but they're paying $45 a month, whereas I pay a one-time cost. I paid a one-time cost of, I think it was about $1,200 or so for 4 cameras, and I got to monitor it myself. I got to do whatever I wanted with the data, and I could remote in. I could pay a little bit if I wanted extra, but it gave me enough that I needed, like 3 days worth for free or whatever. And it's crazy. They're like, well, I got these cameras for free. And it's like, you didn't. You just started a subscription, a contract, and if you want to break the contract, you're going to have to buy out of the contract. And this can be applied to security systems is the bigger one that I've seen. I've seen like water heaters in this, the same thing. If you price it out, if you do it yourself, usually it's cheaper rather than financing it over a certain amount of time, because a contract is generally some form of financing, if you think of it like that. Anyway, that's the first thing, right? Is you can buy these things straight up with cash and upfront, and it's the same or cheaper in this case than this, right? So you didn't get them for free is the main thing, right? So that's one scenario. Another scenario that I have PlayStation Plus, which is on PlayStation. You get access to be online. It's kind of like their online type of subscription type service, where you pay for a month at a time, and you can go online, play games, and then in quotes they give you free games. Well, I think PlayStation Plus is like $70, $80 Canadian. I think it's $80 Canadian a year. And then they say, well, you get these free games, right? It's like, well, they're not free. They just don't cost anything extra than your $80 a year. And they might have a, price on them, and you can justify debt to high heaven and say, well, they're good value because, normally this is like a $70 game, and I'm getting like a few of these games every month. Therefore, it's a good deal. I'm not saying these aren't good deals. I'm saying, like, I loved, the games that came out for PlayStation the last month. That was great. But I certainly didn't get it for free. I don't pay for the PlayStation Plus. Generally, I for the last couple of years, I've gotten it as a gift. So that, people, they just, give you either, for Christmas or whatever, Amazon gift cards or PlayStation gift cards. And I just so happened to get another PlayStation Plus gift card, and you just slap it onto the end of your thing and whatever. Anyway, the idea is you get free games. Well, no, you paid $80 a year for those free games. If you don't pay that, they take them away. You don't get to play them after. Therefore, it's not a free game. It's attached to your contract, right? So that's another example. Another example of contracts is phone contracts. I love phone contracts. They're amazing. I don't have one. And the reason I don't have one, and I'll go over some numbers here, because it's really interesting when you account into financing a phone over a contract. Generally, things are a lot more than you think they are, especially if you add taxes and all that other stuff. So I'll go over my plan. My plan is a $15 a month plan. Okay, that gets me unlimited texting, 100 minutes, and unlimited data. Okay? That's just where I live, and a lot of these plans, phone plans, these are CRTC government type of phone plans where they're mandated, and a phone provider has to provide these plans, a $15 plan, and I think it's a $35 plan with 3 gigs or something like that, at full speed and all that stuff. But either way, I'm on a $15 plan, okay? You can add on add-ons if you want after that, but you have to own your phone, right? That's one of the stipulations, is you have to own your phone, and no contract. Meaning I can change it anytime. I can do whatever. It's $15 a month plus tax. You know the tax on a $15 phone plan? Anyway, that's the only way that you can get a $15 phone plan. If you want to go into a phone contract, people are like, oh, I get to get a new $0 phone, $0 up front, or I pay, an extra $5, $10, $20 a month extra on my phone bill, and it's the same. But it's not. And I'll go over why. Because this $15, a year phone plan, if you want to do quick math on it, $360 a year, or every 2 years. That is how much it costs me for my phone plan. Right? That's amazing. That's great. Some people pay that in 3 or 4 months. I pay that every 2 years. Now, every now and then, you're going to have to get a phone. And usually, people try to keep them around every 2 years. You get a new phone because the old one breaks, or you start thinking, well, I don't really need to clean up anything, and it's kind of garbage, and I don't like it. And my phone right now is a Google Pixel 3 XL that has lasted, since it came out. And it's pretty good. I don't need a new one. But if I were to get a new one, let's look at that scenario, okay? You don't get access to the $15 plan unless you buy it outright. A new Pixel right now, so we'll just say new Pixel, because I'll just stick with the Pixel series, is $800. A new Samsung is about $950. Just to give some numbers. So if I spend $800, I can still only spend $360 for every 2 years. If I finance the phone, okay? Remember, financing plus you don't get access to the plans because you don't own your phone. So you have to get one of their plans, one of those plans. And generally, those plans, they start at either $60 or $80 a month. So $80 a month, plus you have to finance the phone, which is about $20 or so a month. You're spending $100. You do that over 2 years, what do you spend? You spend $2,400. That's quick math, right? So there's a financing option. This is if you own everything before upfront. But if you just buy this new Pixel or this new Samsung, and you buy that upfront, you add that to here, like you're still paying less. Get a new phone, 1301, 1310. You get a new phone, 1310. Meanwhile, this over here, you're still paying $2,400. So think of it, how much is the phone actually costing? Is the phone costing $950? In my scenario, yes, you add $950 to this $360 you're paying every 2 years. Can't access these plans if you finance your phone and get on a monthly plan. There's no way to do this. So how much does the phone cost? Well, if it's $360, let's do some other quick math. If we had $360 before and now it's $2,400, we do $2,400 minus $360. The phone is actually $2,040. So $2,040 is the actual cost of this phone. Now I know that there's deals and there's promotions and there's trade-in values and then there's taxes on top of all that, which I'm not going to get into because you're paying the taxes on this phone, this number, either way. Either you're paying it up front or you're paying it on a monthly plan. The difference is the tax that you're paying on your monthly plan. The difference would be you're paying taxes on 80, which is $8. Meanwhile, you're paying taxes on here, which is $1.50. I think I said 15 cents before. I meant $1.50. So the difference there is, you know, $6.50 on top of all this. And that adds no value to your life. I mean, taxes should generally add value to your life, but in some cases they don't. Like, this isn't part of your phone. You're not getting an extra $6.50 worth of phone by financing it on a plan. That's just how that works, right? So the financing part, I'm not looking at the tax on the 20 because you're paying it either way. The percent, 10% on this and 10% on this over the same, it's the same time. Anyway, on to the next thing I want to talk about is internet contracts. And those ones are most interesting because usually, like Shaw is the one that's kind of in the area that I'm in that I wish I could get off of. They say they'll give you $10 a month off if you sign a 2-year contract. Then they say that they're going to charge you $15 a month if you break your contract. So the most I'm going to save, let's say on a $100 a month, plan, is $2,400 every 2 years. And the reason I do every 2 years because these phone contracts and internet contracts are every 2 years usually. So that means I could save at most $240 if I sign on for 2 years. Sounds like a good deal. This is the only case where it could be a good deal. It's not a good deal if you're going to cancel within that time frame. At what point is break even? Okay, so it's about, I think, 14 months. So if you break the contract in the first 14 months, it's not worth it, right? If you break the contract in the first 14 months, because the first 14 months you're saving 140. Saving 140. And then if you're saving 140 and then you break it for like the last it's 8 months. So you save 140 and then you pay 120 for the break. So that's where it's kind of break even, right? Right now I'm waiting, I'm praying to switch off of Shaw. I really do not like them. And I really would like some fiber internet in my place. It is here. They just haven't flicked the switch yet. But anyway, so it's like, do I want to get a contract? Well, if I'm going to break the contract in the first 14 months, it's not worth it because then I'm not saving 140 to pay the 120. So if you look at the contracts like that, right now I'm paying, if you want to say an extra 10, it's like I'm not paying an extra 10. I'm just not saving 10. And because I think that I'm going to get internet in the next year. I'm hoping. If not, then whatever. It's like, it's not a big deal, right? But the other ones, these ones where nothing is free, the financing isn't free. Sometimes there's APRs on this, such as, I know, house insurance. If you pay monthly, there's like a 3 or 4% fee. And I'm going to go into that in another video of financing and visualizing it. But I want to go over these ones. The last thing, which is not really a contract, but I want to include in the contract video, is because you're paying for it anyway. That's the other thing. Paying for it anyway. And that's one thing that I realized when I had animals. So when I had animals, I had, cats and dog, and I found that if I paid for cheap, I ended up paying more. And you're like, well, how does that work? And that's because if I paid for the 25-cent Whiskas at Walmart for the cat food, I ended up getting a spicy vet bill in like a few-year time frame. So it's like, why would you, and this includes your own body too, right? It's like, why would you put, crappy things and things that aren't, healthy for you in you so that you could save $1 here and there and then you end up, having health problems down the road from that. It's like, well, you're paying for it anyway. Either you're paying for it, at the end, you know, hopefully before the end, but like, hopefully you get to catch up to it, right? Because putting in things that are cheap, usually food is like, the cheaper it is, the lower quality is, like cheap meat and, other cheap food. It's like you're paying for it anyway. Like in a 25-year time span, chances are, if you cheap out on food for 25 years, you're going to feel it at the end, or you're not going to feel great through the middle of it. Like, I know that I've done some, unhealthy choices, and, I'm always trying to correct them and pick healthier choices now, which is great, and it's going well, and I feel more alive and awake and more full of energy. And that's where it's like, why was I trying to cheap out back then? And then you try to, like, take energy drinks or take whatever, and it's like, if you just ate right from the start, it's like you're paying for it anyway. Either it's like you cheap out here and then you pay for energy drinks to get your energy up, or you just feel slothy throughout the year or whatever. It's like you're paying for it anyway. And some of these, it's like you're paying for it anyway. Oh, it's peace of mind. And it's like, you can have peace of mind without somebody else watching, your cameras or whatever. You can have peace of mind, over certain things, but generally you're paying for it anyway, and nothing is free. If something is free, there's another thing going on there, right? It's like, if Facebook is free, then your data is being sold, because nothing is free. So I just wanted to share out with this video some numbers, some contracts, that type of thing. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks, and talk soon.